One of the most valuable features that we have in Blox is its search function. Our websites retain everything we have ever published. You might wish to reuse a photo that you uploaded some time ago, or perhaps you need to link a new lead to an old story. Well, with the search tools, this can happen very quickly and easily. On the left side of our editorial assets window is the search terms block, and you notice that there are several options that we have here. The first one being just search text, which is pretty obvious. If you wanted to look up a particular name that was attached to a photo, or a word that was used in a story, or even a keyword, you can do this with the search text. Now, narrowing it even further, you can say, well, I only want to search for images, and you can checkbox that have the text, maybe in this case Mercer or something like that. This also goes for any other type of asset. You can narrow it down. In addition to this, you also have the section options where you can say, well, this only occurs in the police category, I know that. So you can choose that, and again, these can be used in combination with one another or independently. Now, as I collapse these, notice that the type shows right here what we have selected, image, and under section police. If I were to also choose article and collapse that, it would show both article and image. So it tells me exactly what I'm searching for. We can choose a date range. Maybe not very useful unless you actually know when it was published. Author, it just depends on if you use that function on your site. A lot of sites don't. You can see this one over here doesn't use the author function very often. We're pretty much going to stick to editorial searches here. We don't typically deal with calendar and classify searches within this window, so avoid that. And then, of course, we discussed before about the published and unpublished and contributed and non-contributed content. If you're doing a search for content you've done before, leave these at default. And then the value-added content we don't really use, but the flags we do. This may be a story maybe you featured, or maybe it was flagged as web only or something like that. You can also narrow down your search even that much more. Deleted assets, if you maybe removed one by accident, you can go over here and check for deleted assets and do a search and go in and undelete that asset if it's been within a few days. They do clear that cache out periodically. Now, let's say that you have a story that you wish to tie to a previous story. I'm going to open up this particular asset here, and you want to create what's called a sibling asset. And what that means basically is that it's a related story. So under Related tab and Sibling Assets, you simply click Add and select Find Assets. And you're going to get a search window that looks very similar to the main editorial assets window. And we can narrow it down here very quickly just by typing in a keyword and finding all of the articles that have that keyword in them. There we are. We can tie that to the story. Any of these, this particular earlier story that was done back in April about the same pet food manufacturing plant, we can check that box. We can add that selected asset as a sibling asset, and now they'll be related to each other. And this will make it easier for our readers to find previous content that was connected with this particular story. It gives them a thread to follow, it gives them some continuity. So use that feature as much as you can in connecting new leads to old stories. So that's the search function in a nutshell. If you have any questions, give me a holler. I'll be glad to help.